So we have our incredible group of tutors that are taking you through a lot of technicalities and specifics on your parts. But what I want to speak to you all about is the character of the theme and of every single variation. It's so often the last thing that we address. So we're concerned with which bowings are we doing? Are we playing up bow or down bow? What articulation are we doing? Are we in the right tempo? Are we playing in tune? Are we not scratching? If we have an incredibly strong and clear character in our mind, an expression in our mind, not only does it help our hands work out what to do, but it also plays a trick on anybody listening to you, because the character is so strong and so convincing, and you're saying to the audience, listen to this part of what we're doing, and they don't hear anything else, because you're telling them a really clear story. So what I'm going to do is quickly whiz through these variations and give you my take on each one of them. So starting with the theme, of course, we want to be listening to that inner voice that has the faster, snapped rhythm. Bum, ba-bum, ba-bum, ba-bum. Ba-bum. Now, what does that make us feel? And what can we see when we hear that rhythm? It's something that is more courtly, more stately, and it has a sort of fearful, like looming element to the sound at the beginning. So we want to make sure our sound, no matter what part you're playing, has a steeliness. And when I say steely, I mean not, but instead, we want to have a real consistency to the sound and a stickiness to the sound. The other main thing to say about this theme is 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So every time we get to that second beat, every third bar, you want to really feel in your bones, and almost like that is the one of the first bar has an up as well as a down. It has an up feeling, and that 2 is when everything sinks into the ground. Feel the gravity of that second beat. Now you'll notice in how we interpret playing this music, we don't play the rhythm exactly as it's written. So what is written is, we're playing it a little bit swung, you would say, a little bit delayed, and it has a swing to it. So so you want to experiment with that as much as possible. Don't obsess over exactly how long the note is, and don't obsess over what's in the parts. What you want to focus on is that beat 2, so that the small note after that is just a reaction. Whatever happens after that, happens. Bar 19, variation 1. This has a lot more pathos and flow to it. So I want you to use a lot of bow, and don't worry so much about it being so sticky. So if I can just give an example, and I think this can apply to all the moving parts, that bass line has to have a melodic quality to it. So can move a bit more. We're singing and swaying. It has a more kind of linear feel to it. Bar 27, now we get into a fight. So I want to hear grit and attack to your string. Rather than hearing something perfect, I would rather hear something that sounds like you're not at all scared. You start the first beat on bar 27 and it goes towards the bottom. In Baroque music, you are always looking at shapes. You're looking at when things rise and when things fall, and you're looking at direction. When are you going towards a cadence? So this first bar goes towards the second, and for those who are playing the lower strings, answer in bar 28, same thing, follow the direction of the notes and listen carefully to the interpretation that we've shared with you, and try to follow that too. Now I'm going to skip to bar 43, and this is almost like we're trying to find our way. When we recorded it, we were playing it particularly in time because we know we've all got to record it together, but if I was on my own here, just so you understand the character, I would be playing it as if I'm kind of making up what I'm doing. So I would be going... for example. So we're not going to do it that wild because that will be impossible for us all to get it together, but the character has to be one that is like we're trying to work out what we're doing. We might go here, we might go there. From bar 60, for all of the parts, this is generous, it's open, you want to use a lot of bow and create a lot of resonance in the sound. They're tricky parts for everybody, so to create as much resonance as possible will help you. For those of you who are playing the non-divisi chords, I would really engage your body as much as possible, but do not let go of the sustain. Save the bow. You want to create a lot of movement in the 1 and the 2 and then save the bow as much as possible. From bar 84, we want to feel like we're being chased. You want to have as much of a bubbling sound as possible. Now that can be, or very off the string, or you can even play it here. Anything that creates excitement and momentum. From bar 92, I want you to exaggerate those hairpins as much as possible. This has to be a fight that is just sent around the orchestra. So we want to save the bow, bite, save, oh sorry, down bow. So you want to really exaggerate those crescendos as much as possible. From bar 108, this is all syncopated. Please go towards the second bar. So 1, 2, 3, 1. So we want to feel that bum 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 bum. The variation that starts in bar 124, that is quite a delicate variation. For all of you that are playing the very tricky bowing, which is the just try to keep everything quite contained there. Don't try to do everything at once, just focus on your arms. The way it is written, it's interesting enough by itself. But when we get to bar 140, the tempo becomes a little bit slower, a little bit heavier. I want you to use as much energy as possible and really sit down into the string. So practice maybe a little bit of just dropping the bow. So just try to get that feeling going, and then you can start to add the left hand. And don't try to be too prescribed with it. The point is that it has this kind of heavy swing to it. It's not delicate. And really try to differentiate between the so I would practice that isolating the run on the way down. Now the last variation, when we start at bar 148, we're going to actually start this soft because we're going to do a big crescendo through these last variations. So I want you to start quite delicate. And the most important thing is to have good rhythm. And I don't mean obsess over every single note. Try to get your right hand in a place that's very relaxed. For everyone that's creating the motion parts is exactly the same. Try to lock into a really strong rhythm. We're going to do a big crescendo, bars 154 and 155. And then everybody has to give everything they have from then to the end of the piece. So I'm doing lots of down bows. And using everything I have, the circles that we've been talking about in some of the other videos, that's absolutely vital for this place. You want to look like it's coming alive, and you want it to sound like it's coming alive. And for everybody who has those repeated notes, texture, 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 that's what you want. Last note, don't give up till the end.